Happy Tuesday morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me today while I read you your morning meditations for August 23rd. Before I begin, it would mean the world to me if you guys would click that, click the like, the subscribe, and the notification bell. I'm really trying to grow my little YouTube channel over here, so that would help me out so much. All right, guys, let's get right into it. I'm going to start off reading from the Just for Today Daily Meditations by Narcotics Anonymous. If you have this book and you want to read along, I am on page 245. And the title of today's video is Decision Making. Before we got clean, most of our actions were guided by impulse. Today, we are not locked into this type of thinking. Life is a series of decisions, actions, and consequences. When we were using, our decisions were usually driven by our disease, resulting in self-destructive actions and dire consequences. We came to see decision-making as a rigid game, one we should play as little as possible. Given that, many of us have great difficulty learning to make decisions in recovery. Slowly, by working the 12 steps, we gain practice in making healthy decisions, ones that give positive results. Where our disease once affected our will and our lives, we ask our higher power to care for us. We inventory our values and our actions, check our findings with someone we trust, and ask the God of our understanding to remove our shortcomings. In working the steps, we gain freedom from the influence of our disease, and we learn principles of decision-making that can guide us in all our affairs. Today, our decisions and their consequences need not be influenced by our disease. Our faith gives us the courage and direction to make good decisions and the strength to act on them. The result of that kind of decision-making is life worth living. Just for today, I will use the principles of the 12 steps to make healthy decisions, and I will ask my higher power for the strength to act on those decisions. Okay, that was a cool little reading, and I assume very helpful to somebody new into recovery who has known nothing but addiction for their life. In that way, I'm a little more fortunate because I have been independent my entire life. I've always held a job. I've always worked. I raised kids. I paid bills. I knew my mother taught me how to cook. So I knew how to live a normal, sober life. And it wasn't hard in that area anyway to revert back to that 100% once I came into recovery. But I have been to rehab a couple times and met some people who just had absolute zero idea how to make the smallest of decisions, and my heart goes out to them. That has to be awful on top of everything else you're dealing with and battling with. I hope and pray that somebody in that situation has someone to help them make decisions and gets through it that way. Guys, also, I am always available to help you, talk to you, if you need that. I'm going to start leaving my email in the description box just for anybody who's really going through something and doesn't have anybody. You can always email me and I will do my best to help you. I was also that way. You know, a lot of people, the only really family that I have is my mom, and she did a lot of the tough love thing and didn't help me with anything, and that wasn't helpful for me. Some people that may work with, some people that doesn't work with. So if you're in that situation, you have absolutely nobody, and there's things you're struggling with and you're new to recovery, anything you need, I'm here to talk. I'm going to start leaving my email address in the description box for that reason. Let me know what you guys got out of that reading. Let me know any tips and tricks on how you go about making decisions. Maybe somebody can learn from that in the comments below. That would be cool. At this time, we're going to jump over to my little cute book. I'm just going to rename it that because I say it in every video. You guys are like, I know, you think the book is cute. I get it. But it is. I just love it so much. And we're going to go to August 23rd. And this is, I didn't even tell you, it's a 365 Days of Kindness. It has a little biblical excerpt, and then it has an act of kindness for us to go out into our day to fulfill. So it kind of gives us a little guide and reminder of what we're going to be doing today in this world. Okay, guys, so we're going to start off August 23rd. Be courteous. Remind them to never tear down anyone with their words or quarrel, but instead be considerate, humble, and courteous to everybody. That's Titus chapter 3, verse 2. Political speeches and debates are interesting to watch, but if you listen closely, you will find a lot of attacking. We should be inspired by great leaders, but we also need to be discerning of whom we are following. If your leaders are tearing people down with words and quarrels, perhaps they are not the Christ-like example you want to follow. Always look to Jesus for examples of how to live, talk, and treat others. Be considerate, humble, and courteous to everybody. Sometimes this might simply mean that you don't say anything. Rather, let those who are quiet and insightful have the floor. We often don't listen enough to the voice of the humble. Today's act of kindness is include someone in a conversation who usually doesn't have much to say. I'm a huge fan of that act of kindness. Yes, that is awesome. A lot of people, you know, especially introverts that really don't feel comfortable, they just kind of usually stay off to the sidelines and they're quiet. Try giving them the floor for today. That will make them feel so important and validated and, you know, wanted. So I think that's awesome to do for somebody today. As for the reading, and I always say this about these readings, guys, you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be an addict. I think we all can get something out of these readings, living everyday life. They have some really good lessons in them. Also, I did order some just regular old meditation books that I'm going to start reading here for those who are not religious or who are not an addict and would like something a little different. So I'll alternate between those. The reason for me starting to read the Just for Today daily meditations on my channel was because I found them massively helpful when I was new in recovery, and when I went to search them on YouTube, I couldn't find them consistently. So I really wanted to have a place where somebody could find those readings consistently if they needed them, and to be a support to anybody who needs it as well. So that's my goal with reading these. But yeah, even if you take this reading for face value, just be courteous to people. Just be courteous. And you know what? I struggle with this too. Not the being courteous part, but the being quiet part when I should sometimes. You know, it says if you can't be courteous, or, you know, the old saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. Sometimes I forget that, especially in the moment. And it's very hard. Especially when I feel like somebody is just overstepping their bounds to no end in sight. And you know, this reminds me of my coworker. She's very quiet. She's a young girl, and she doesn't always speak up for herself. And there's this too old man to be hitting on her that comes in. I work in a restaurant, and he hits on her and he makes her feel very uncomfortable. And in that situation, I always butt in, and I'm like, yeah, and I send her like to the back and I deal with him. I almost feel like I have to protect other people, so I inject, and I sometimes have to remember to just be quiet. Let him look like the asshole that he is, because he looks like an asshole. 60 years old, hitting on a 20-year-old girl. And keep it moving. Sometimes it's just better, you know, you could say more with silence sometimes, actually. So yeah, guys, thank you for joining me here today. I hope you got something good out of today's readings. If you did, let me know down below, and I'll see you here again tomorrow.